But let's turn our attention to the Monster Energy Super GP National Tour that kicked off this year, I think, with a great model of bringing motorsport, I think, in line with a lot of motorsport that happens all over the world, and that is on a Sunday. We have MotoGP, we have Superbikes, and we have Formula One that all take place on a Sunday. And in South Africa, the Super GP series is run on a Saturday and a Sunday. Saturday, of course, for the qualifying and all of that. And then the Sunday, they have the various categories and formula, and they go racing on a Sunday. Now, there's a couple of things we need to talk about because there was an incident yesterday which really upset me. But there are a few things that we've got to look at, and this is what I don't understand. Yesterday's race took place at the wonderful Swartkorps Raceway, which is in Pretoria, or outside of Pretoria, and is one of the most supported circuits in South Africa for any form of racing. Unfortunately, there wasn't much of a crowd yesterday for the Super GP. And this begs me the question as to why. Why is it that South Africans, as motorsport fans or as just general fans, why are we not going out to go and watch our specific sports? Whether it be rugby, we're not getting full stadiums. Whether it be football, we're not getting full stadiums. And whether it be motorsport, we're not getting full stadiums as well. So there's a couple of things. Number one, maybe there's too much television, or we just spoiled for choice because we can watch just about everything on TV. Now, Super GP, fortunately, over the last race and this race, have struck a deal with SABC, and there is SABC television coverage for the second race of the day, or the second big race of the day, and that, of course, is the Super GP category, and it goes live on SABC3, so which is really, really cool. So I managed to turn on the TV and watch all of the goings on. There's a couple of things. The MMC for Tshwane, after saying a million different things, seems to have committed to the motorsport side of things, which I think is terrific news. I just hope she lives up to what she said yesterday. Then there are a couple of things, and these things need to be taken up with the organizers, etc., etc. This is the major category of Super GP racing, and there were 10 motorcycles, of which 9 started, 1 did not start. So there were 9 bikes in this whole race. Now, that's something, of course, the organizers and the technical people have to figure out, but you can't have a series of motor racing, in my opinion, with 9 motorcycles. It's the same as in the production car category of circuit racing, that there are like 6 cars in Class A and 6 cars in Class T. Call me wrong for a couple. It's just not it's not commensurate to actually good racing. That being said, it was a decent race. It was basically always going to be between Clinton Seller and his teammate and the likes of Lance Isaacs. And Lance Isaacs got the jump and managed to get through and pass everybody going into the first corners and stretched out a little bit of a lead. Clint Seller fought hard to get himself back up to second place. And then, unfortunately, going into turn 5, made a little bit of a mistake, lost the back of the bike and landed up in the kitty litter. He managed to pick the bike up again, which I tell you is no mean feat because those things are very, very heavy. So he managed to get the bike up and got into the pits. Eventually made his way into the pits with a very, very damaged bike. But his mechanics and team around him managed to sort of pull some parts off, put things together, etc., and he was able to go out racing again. But at this stage, he was 5 laps down. Now, I know there are only 9 bikes in the race, which means that even just circulating until the end of the race would have gotten him some kind of points in any case, and he's leading the championship, so that was very, very important. He came out of the pit lane. Lance Isaacs had gone past, so he was comfortably in the lead, but he came out just behind the battle for second and third place. And took him a lap or two to get his bike back up to speed and the tires up to heat, etc., etc. And then made one of the most foolish, like rookie kind of stuff. You see this kind of racing in Moto 3 and in small formulas of racing. You shouldn't get it from a guy like Kinsella, who's a national champion as well. So what happens is he gets his bike up to speed. His bike's going really, really fast. And he reckons, okay, well, a little bit of showboating. And I don't take his excuse that he was trying to help his teammate. He just had freaking brain fade. So he thought, well, you know what? I can't win this race, okay, but let me just try and go out there and show that I can still go pretty quickly. So his teammate, okay, and the other BMW rider are fighting for second and third place. And Clint Seller's just behind them. And they come up to the tabletop at Swartkorps. And it is a place that one can overtake quite well. But Clint Seller just sat there and went, well, I'm going to dive down the inside and take the position. So what he did is he braked too late. He knocked his teammate up in the air. His teammate went into Harron in front of him in the BMW. All three of them, Seller managed to ride round and remain unscathed. Didn't even acknowledge or put his hand up to say sorry or anything. His teammate basically was in the kitty litter and his bike was destroyed. The guy in the BM managed to keep it going, got back onto the circuit and eventually finished in second place. Now the thing is that Seller had no chance in the race. And I understand that he was quicker than everybody else in front of him. But if anything, he should have actually just stuck back or should have found another place to overtake them on the circuit, as opposed to trying it at the tabletop, where these guys are fighting for second and third position. And he's got no interest in the race whatsoever, just other than to sort of say, well, I made a mistake, but look, I'm really, really fast. He came out afterwards and apologized and said he wanted to get in front of the two and actually assist his teammate. The speed that he was going, he would have left him in his dust. So I don't know how he was going to help his teammate in any case. It was a stupid move, a very irresponsible move. As far as I know, no action has been taken against him for that move. And I think that is actually very, very unfair to everybody else, because his teammate lost out on points. And the fact that he took one of the other guys out of the race meant that he got actually more points for where he finished in the race. So yeah, Clinton, and you know, I know the guy, he's a nice guy, but really, that was a stupid piece of driving. And I wouldn't be surprised if you get some kind of ban or I don't know what else you do. If there's only 10 bikes on the circuit, what are you going to do? Put him in 10th place? By the second lap, he would have passed everyone because his bike is so strong. I would ban him for a couple of races. I think it was a really, really dumb piece of driving, especially at this level of motor racing. And as I've said in the other sports, crashes do happen, I understand. But this was completely avoidable, and serious action should be taken about that as well. So that was a look at that race. Lance Isaacs took the victory. His teammate came second, which was terrific. At least it closed the championship up a little bit. So at least that championship series is still quite alive. There's still a couple of things. Why aren't we going to support our sports people? I don't know. As I said, Swartkorps is a magnificent facility. Always a lot of fun to go to that place. And yet there were very, very few people. So one has to sit there and ask what is going wrong with the marketing. It's all great to have the television coverage, but you know, how many people knew about this event at Swartkorps? So did Swartkorps put enough behind it? Did Monster put enough behind it? And we got to ask the question, why weren't there people there? We've got so many bikers and so many lovers of motorsport. Why weren't they there? And that's a big question I think the organizers, the promoters, the sponsors have to ask themselves and find some serious answers if this series is going to remain alive. The other thing that I found a little bit troubling is Clint Seller, when he had his crash and made his way into the pits. And I do understand that people like to hear from drivers and riders, etc., etc. In no form of motorsport do I ever hear of a rider or a driver in the middle of a race. The only time that I might hear somebody is if there's a caution out, and in NASCAR they might chat to a driver. Besides that, and that is completely arranged and organized. Clint now, he's just had a tumble, gets into his pits. His guys are trying to fix his bike up or whatever, and somebody goes and shoves a microphone in his face. What happened? Is it okay? Are you going to get out there again? I just find that nonsensical. In my opinion, the guy's focused. I don't even know how the team allows them to get that close. That's something I wouldn't allow to happen. After the race, of course, no problem whatsoever. But during a race, I mean, imagine if somebody comes in for a pit stop and they've got to change the computer, and you go up to Lewis Hamilton and start talking to him in the middle of the race. So how's it going out there? The guy would go mental. He'd freaking headbutt you with his helmet. So I find that a little bit stupid, to be honest. But for the rest of it, it's just a pity that there aren't more bikes in the series. I think it lends itself to a really good model. I think the Sunday racing is really good, but I think there are a lot of questions that have to be answered. Why were there no people or not enough people at Swartkorps to go and watch the series? What is going wrong in terms of the marketing and the publicity around the series that we aren't getting the crowds there? It was a perfect day to go out. It was a fantastically sunny, hot day, and yet there was a very, very small crowd at Swartkorps. I just hope the championship stays alive. I'd like to know what the clerk of the course or the stewards actually made, if they've made any decision regarding the incident. In my opinion, I don't know if there was if he will get away with this. In my opinion, I really think he should get a couple of races banned. I think for completely unnecessary driving. So there we go. Championship still alive. It's Clint versus Lance Isaacs in the Super GP Championship, and hopefully it'll come down to the wire.
GearsOnBalls.co.za with Sasha Martinenko and Daisy Fensham. Weekdays 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.